Tonight, we're honoring the life and legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson, who died this morning at the age of 84 after 6 decades of public service that spanned from community organizing to politics. Reverend Jackson rose to prominence in the 1960s as a protege of Martin Luther King Jr., who was alongside Dr. King when he was assassinated in 1968. Jackson was committed to keeping the dream alive, founding the Rainbow Push Coalition in 1984 to fight against government efforts targeting civil rights and freedoms. Jackson was the first black man to mount a major competitive campaign for president of the United States. While his 2 campaigns fell short, he was sure to end that second campaign with a message of encouragement.
In the end, faith will not the support. You must not surrender. You may or may not get there, but just know that you are qualified and you hold on and hold out. We must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive.
20 years later, he tearfully celebrated the election of Barack Obama as the first black president of the United States, and so much more, Simone.
Reverend Jesse Jackson was a great man. The New York Times today called him an impassioned populist, an orator who had a vision of the Rainbow Coalition. Jesse Jackson once said, "My constituency is the desperate, the damned, the disinherited, the disrespected, and the despised." He said that in the 1984 Democratic National Convention in San Francisco. There would be no Barack Obama, no Kamala Harris, no colored girls, no Donna Brazile, no Simone Sanders Townsend without the work of Jesse Jackson. What he did after losing the 1988 Democratic presidential primary was he used his influence, the number of votes that he had, to press for change. And this is Reverend Jackson on March 13th, 1988, talking about proportional representation on Meet the Press. Take a listen.
Well, clearly they're not independent operators. When you look at who is endorsing who, you look at the role that the Southern power structure played very overtly in the Super Tuesday elections. Clearly, they are endorsing people, which they said they were not going to endorse. They are not really independent. My point is simply this, that to protect the integrity of the one person, one vote democracy, popular votes and delegate votes should correspond.
Then the Democratic primary prior to Reverend Jackson's crusade after 88, it was winner take all in every single state. That's how it is in the Republican primary in most states right now. Because of what Reverend Jackson pushed for, it made it possible for Barack Obama to be elected, because in winning the way you win a primary, folks, is you win delegates in a presidential, and President Obama was able to win delegates because of proportional representation. He also is the reason that so many young black operatives who are now the senior strategists, the OGs, the colored girls like Donna Brazile, Minyon Moore, Yolanda Caraway, Leah Daughtry, and, you know, one of my former bosses, Tina Flournoy, they all met, most of them working on the Jackson's first campaign in 1984.
He changed the mechanics of how the Democratic Party selects a president. He also changed the imagination of the country, right? Because he came out as someone who people knew from being in the civil rights movement. He was someone who was a theologian. He was able to connect all of those dots and still say political power is important in this country. He was one of the first people to put together this Rainbow Coalition. It's not just the different colors, it's also different jobs. People who are farmers, people who are in the labor union. He was someone who saw that you could be talking about being black and being gay in this country. You could talk about being a woman and still those things be kitchen table issues. It was populism that really the Democratic Party right now that's having a conversation about how you do both. They should look to exactly how he did it in both 84 and 88.
I just keep thinking about how the arc of the universe bends towards justice, but it is a reminder that in as much progress as there was, the moment that we find ourselves in does not feel necessarily reflective or worthy of the vision that Jesse Jackson had. But I love the legacy that you lay out for us, which is one that is seeds that are planted.
Literally.
We're still watching growth.
At a time when the people that look like us at this table did not have political power, Jesse Jackson pushed for it, demanded it, and took it. That is the lesson I think people should take from this moment. God rest his soul.